Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Top 9 Podcast. My name's Tom Cassidy. It is a cold day in January, Martin Luther King Day. I had a dream, and it was Top 9 Podcast. With me, as always, is Adele Carollo.
Making your dreams come true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here. Hi, guys.
And, we've had some heavy hitters lately, and that stops today, folks, okay? But we're happy to have them here. My friend, comedian, musician, actor, Leo Volf.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Hey,
and I'm
Leo.
here to make your nightmares come true.
You want to do that again? You want to take it one more time? Say it
No,
one more
this
time
is-
from the top.
Nope,
Ready?
This is how I do it. I
And-
flub through it
And action.
I make your nightmares come true.
Pretty good. We'll fix it in
All right.
post. All
Great.
good.
Elaborate on the musician part. I don't know about that.
He
life.
used to be a musician.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you still claim it?
What do you play?
I don't know. Is
I
that...
played the woodwinds, but that will come up later in our.
Your
the-
list.
our
I was
list.
excited about your topic. There's stories behind there, I'm sure.
I hope so.
Wait, what do you mean by the woodwinds? Is
I
that a different
play-
way to say saxophone?
Well, because I also play the flute and clarinet.
So woodwind is a word
yeah,
for
I don't
like
really
blowing
understand
into instruments?
It's like all the reed instruments.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. We're already learning something.
I love it.
I play a little bit of piano too.
Yeah, you're gonna help me write a jingle.
I love musical people. Like, you're good at a lot of things when you can, like, hear music or read music.
Sure.
I think it helps with your creativity for sure.
It's the universal language, I like to say.
There you go.
Comedy's pretty cool. Music's cooler.
I can get behind that. Yeah.
I like doing comedy, but it's nice being a fan of music.
Sure.
You know,
You
as
know?
someone that's failed at both,
Uh-huh.
I
Not
I
true.
disagree with both of you.
Okay, well, elaborate.
What do you mean?
What do you
I
disagree
think they
with?
both stink.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Fair enough.
And I hate both. I hate both musicians and comedians.
Nice.
But music is more transcendent. If we're talking instrumentals, you could.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about the idea of music and the idea
Oh,
of
sure,
comedy.
right,
You're
right.
talking about you hate musicians and comedians.
I'm imagining someone like me doing both, and I'm like, I
Uh-huh.
hate both of these forms.
Sure.
The ideal version, yes, both
I
are
don't know.
wonderful.
It is interesting. Like, okay, musicians are like cooler than comedians,
Do you
right?
ever wish you could cross over?
Well, hold on, I'll dispute that because your idea of a musician is like,
A rapper?
yeah, like
Not necessarily.
whatever, but like or Taylor Swift, right? My idea of
That's my idea. Rapper or Taylor Swift?
No, a musician.
Sure,
Like, right?
yeah.
My idea is like, like a nerd holding a bassoon playing like at a high school pit.
Or band camp? Band camp.
Yeah,
So
but
you
like
just
there's
think back
like
to memories of your life.
there's like a professional level of that, which is like all the nerds from like high school.
Okay.
A lot of them become professional musicians,
Yeah.
and there's this world. So that's like my world.
I know.
Where so when you're glamorizing musicians, I'm picturing like the worst people.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess what I'm saying is the coolest musicians, right?
Sure.
Musicians are like cool, but they're not funny, right? And I don't think comedians are that cool, but they're funny. I mean, there's cool comedians, sure, but it's
Yeah.
funny how like if you're cool, you're not necessarily funny, but being funny is cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Incredible.
is it? I don't know.
I
This is a long form podcast.
Yeah, I
Leo.
was not
It's
prepared
okay.
for this kind of wisdom on a
Yeah, no, we're
Monday
just-
afternoon.
We're just chopping it up, baby.
But that's not true. There's musicians are notoriously known for being funny. There's like a whole.
That's what you guys think.
Well, sure. No, but there's like
I saw Bon Iver once. He was pretty funny.
but that whole like banter of like being on stage,
Sure.
in between songs. They all like, think.
I don't think they are very funny though.
Well, because you're going to see like Taylor Swift. Yeah,
And
she's
I
not
can't-
fun.
Oh no, I thought you were gonna say because I'm funny, but I can't play the bassoon.
I would never say that.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't lie to the people.
We're having fun today, folks. All right, no pressure on this episode. It's pretty good, right?
Yeah. Having fun.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
I do want to give a disclaimer,
Okay.
which is like that my track record with podcasts is usually I'm known to be the last episode of a podcast.
Stop.
What do you mean by that?
Like a jinx.
There's been multiple podcasts where I
Oh,
was
that
just
have end it?
after that they're like, let's not do this anymore.
No, we've been through that so much that you're not gonna be the one that breaks
well,
us.
we haven't
No.
we haven't started
We're
yet.
in
We've
it.
been through the fire. Okay, yeah.
Well, that kind of upsets. I'm actually
You're
really
listening to this. Adele gave me some sort of like black handshake that was like cool. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed.
So you you think pretty low of yourself,
No,
don't you?
I
And that
think-
kind of communicates to the rest
He's
of the
being
world.
superstitious a little bit, or forewarning us about this curse.
Well, I'm kind of proud of the streak.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
What podcasts have you ended?
You don't know them because they don't. But Mike Coscarelli and Justin Perez had a podcast. I was literally the last episode.
What was that called? Girls We Fucked?
I feel like you never know it's the last episode,
right.
and then you're like, no.
I've known it a couple times. But
You've
I
thought
don't-
it.
Yeah,
Really?
we just keep going. I like
Well,
it.
actually,
We're
so
finally
maybe-
getting a little. Do you notice we're finally getting a little bit of steam on this podcast?
Yeah, finally.
It really is. It's finally starting to
Brick
pick
by
up.
brick, people.
It
we
really,
did it.
yeah, I know it's nice. Before
nice.
before we get into the list,
We earned this shit.
thank you for subscribing. You know, please tell somebody to tell somebody. YouTube, Apple, Spotify. But yeah,
Nice.
the YouTube numbers are going up a little bit. That's nice. And that's all. I just want to get that announcement
hello.
out of the way.
Hi, guys.
really
Real
promoting
quick.
big tech there.
Yep, that's what we do, baby.
Okay.
You look like you could work for
I
big
did.
tech.
I did, and that will come up in our.
Well, that's a good segue. Leo, what's your top 9 today?
So today, my top 9 is top 9 jobs I've been fired from or quit.
Okay.
And when I was making this list, I realized that,
You're the problem?
well, yes, obviously, but B, that pretty much every job is a job you've either been fired from or have quit. Is that accurate? Or
Aren't those the only ways out?
so my list
Unless
is kind
you-
of like,
Yeah.
Unless you retire.
or like I guess,
Or and you don't include your current job, so yeah, you can list every other job you've had except for your current job.
I guess
Maybe,
to
hopefully,
s-
you'll retire from comedy today.
that could be on the list. Have I ever started though? Okay.
Truthfully, I couldn't have a list this long because
I thought you were going to say, truthfully, I didn't know you were a comedian.
Stop. 9 jobs. I've had every job for a long time.
Yeah,
You know
well,
what
you're
I mean?
a career woman.
Shut the fuck up. I know it's a compliment, but also it's like, robbed me of my life a little bit. So it's sore subject.
Grass is always greener, right?
Yeah.
You know, whether you have a job for a long time. How many jobs have you had in your life, Adele?
Probably like 2.
That's
Get the
incredible.
fuck out of here.
Jeez.
Really?
Yeah. No,
So the
it's
stand is 1.
yeah, and waitressing before that and pursuing acting.
But how much?
was
How
it-
many different places for waitressing though?
A lot, I guess.
Yeah. See, I feel like that.
Yeah, I get, but like not that many, cause yeah. So
Well, yeah, I've gotten fired from some jobs. I've quit some jobs.
These are all like non-amicable. Like
I
you
like
know.
it. It's a juicier story. We love
Well,
it.
Sure.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's just, you know what? Let's tear this Band-Aid off. So this is Leo Volf's top 9 jobs he has either been fired from or quit. Coming in at number 9.
Number 9, construction.
You did construction.
I did 1 day of construction,
Okay, this makes
and
more
this was
sense.
like a very short-lived career.
Can I be the foreman?
Yeah.
the foreman makes dough.
No, that is one takeaway from that 1 day is that I made like a lot of money, or not a lot of money, but it was like a couple $100 for the day.
Yeah.
Where
And
were you? Where did this happen?
so this was in the suburbs of New Jersey, and this was through like
the mob?
well, yeah, it's like through a friend's dad's friend
The
who's,
mob.
who's like a private contractor.
You saw a mobster getting blown in the parking lot, so you had to go on the lam.
Listen, everyone loves The Sopranos.
Yeah, but it was a Sopranos reference, that's for sure.
But so it was like, you know, it's one of these things where it's only through like a word of mouth kind of thing. This guy was a private contractor. He was working on a kitchen for this house, and he needed to tear down the kitchen. So he hired a couple of like these, I guess I was like maybe a teenager or early 20s. He hired my friend who had a connection to this guy, and then my friend was like, oh, get my friend.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, obviously when I show up,
Did your friend look like you?
no, my friend is like, he was like a nationally ranked track athlete. He's like
You had me an athlete. Okay.
he
you
was like
belong there.
you know, like
I have a very creepy YouTube comment that I might read later for one of your potential suitors, by the way. Because every time a man comes up, you're like, you had me at athlete, which is funny.
Go on.
So this guy hired a fucking Olympic athlete, and then he shows up with you.
yeah. So
Okay.
already, like, you know, it's already like a big eye roll of just like, what, you know, whatever. So then, you know, it's early in the morning. First, so he's like, we got to tear down this kitchen. Leo, here's a crowbar. You're going to tear down these tiles. And this guy was like, he's like a 300-pound, like, fat construction dude. And he's like, this is how you do it. And he just starts violently like hammering at the tiles with this crowbar, and they're falling. And then he's like, "Okay, your turn." And literally, my second swing of it, I just run my hand against already the broken tile and just completely through a glove slice my hand open, just start gushing. Literally, the first thing I do, just start gushing blood. Everyone is just like, "Oh my God." You know, they get the first aid kit, wrap up my hand, and then this guy is just so mad because he hired like 4 guys.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is just now done for the day.
One of them's not a man.
One of them is a half. Yeah, he thought he hired 4 guys. He actually hired 3.5.
Uh-huh.
And so then my hand, I'm like gauzed up, and then he was just mad. And he was like, here's a garbage bag. And for the rest of the day, I just stood with my hand elevated so I didn't lose blood and held a garbage bag. And that was
That's got to be kind of difficult to do with one hand.
I managed,
Uh-huh.
And then he was, at the end of the day, he like paid me my like $200, and it was like the bitterness and reluctance of him I kind of had to like pull the money out of his
Sure.
fingers to be like, thank you for this day of work.
Well, you bled for it. You
Yeah.
know? And I'm sure he's supposed to have some sort of like, he's not just supposed to hire any random retard off the street and then they get cut. And I mean, he could be liable.
For sure. And that's why he paid
you.
He kept me for the day and gave me something to do because
you can't be punished for
knew,
getting hurt.
He knew I had some Jew blood in me and that there'd be lawyers involved.
Yeah, but he also knew you had some Russian blood in you too. He could have just put you in the basement or something.
Yeah. So that was and then it was kind of like a mutual agreement of like,
I'm not coming back tomorrow.
Well, yeah, and he was like, yeah, it was, and I feel like he spoke for just the whole construction industry and was probably like, please don't do this ever again.
Maybe look for an office job.
Yeah.
So when you when you took your second thrashing of this cabinet or whatever it was, and you started bleeding, did you like yell or scream or cry?
No,
or
I didn't
anything?
notice because
Were you a big boy about it?
it's hard to like describe. So this guy was just like very fat, but when he was younger, he was probably an athlete. He was one of these guys, right? He was probably like a high school football player, but now in his like 50s, just like a giant fat guy.
Beer belly drop.
Right. But he still has like that.
Yeah.
That quickness of an athlete. So the way he like used this crowbar, I was like in awe of it, and I tried to emulate like the force he did it with.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a tiny little
He
man.
was being an actor in that moment.
Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna
So,
put my heart into this.
You still didn't answer my question.
No, I didn't even notice my hand was because there was so much
Adrenaline.
and enthusiasm between trying to get these tiles off this wall.
Did you get a third swing in?
I probably got like 10 swings in, but I
Spraying
yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then someone noticed, they're like, "You're gushing blood out of your hand."
Oy
man.
vey.
No, it didn't hurt.
What are you on your period, Leo?
Yeah, it was a lot of that.
Man, grand opening, grand closing. Coming in at number 8.
Number 8, cater waiter. One of the first.
I would think you'd be good at that. You're polite and
No, I was
small and stealthy.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
And a deadness in your eyes that much cater waiters have, I would assume.
So a lot of these, besides that construction one, are like when I first moved to New York, right? Everyone
Survival job.
Yeah, like everyone's kind of so like this is one of the first things. It was like maybe off Craigslist through like an agency, like a staffing agency, and they would like it would be like a black tie event, and then that event would hire all the waiters, but then this agency would like then supplement them. So I wasn't even like the main cater waiter. I was like just like the numbers, right? Like the event would be like we need 80 people. The actual catering thing that put it all together would be like, well, we got 60, but we'll get like 20 useless people just to fill in the number so we get the rate or whatever.
So what, you would be a background cater waiter?
Kind of. No, you still did all of the stuff. You just like were not. You're just kind of filler. Like it's just all like contracts, like these big events. They're like, we want this amount of stuff. This is what we're paying you for. So if you can't fill, they just try to fill it with bodies.
I understand. But I would think they would need all of those people.
Yeah. No, I still did stuff.
Okay. How long did you have this job?
Over the months, a handful of jobs. So the reason this ended was, this is going to be not. This might be a little graphic, but it was.
Please go on.
It was like, so this is my first, like, 4 months of just living in New York, right?
Mhm.
And so don't know anything. So whatever, I would do these random gigs every once in a while, and then they would feed you at the end of the day, and then you go home. And this one particular day, the last day I ever did this, they fed us, but it was like something was off with the staff meal, right? So on the train ride home, like that first stomach turn happens, and you're like, okay, this is not okay.
What did you eat?
I think it was like some pasta or something. It was like something like I got food poisoning from this,
Yeah,
right?
when a food turns, it could be literally anything.
So anyway,
This is hitting a little too close to home. I had 4-day-old pasta on the way over here.
so I'm on the subway. I don't really have a good sense of the city yet, where I'm like, I can maybe get out here and run to a bathroom or something. So I just get off wherever I am, which happens to be Canal Street. So then I start looking through. But it's probably like close to midnight at this point. I start running through.
You're looking for somewhere to shit.
Yes,
Frankly.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Canal Street, which is
Yeah, right. So then
rough.
I start going deeper and deeper into Chinatown, and I'm like walking into random, Chinese businesses, going, hey, can I? Hello, sir.
You go away now.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, can I please use your bathroom? Like, good evening. Like, still like kind of not accustomed, like no idea that there's zero chance I'm using this So
I don't know. Buy a fucking fortune cookie.
so
Probably
then
take a
no,
shit.
but those places don't even have a bathroom for their
Yeah,
customers.
a lot
So
of
long story short is I ended up just shitting myself, and then I had to go. I found like a Bank of America, swiped my card in to like the ATM part, and like just threw out my pants. And luckily I had like a change of clothes.
And they were your waiter pants?
Well, there was like.
So you were like, I can't go back.
Well, yeah, pretty much. I shit my waiter pants, and I was like, yeah, I guess I'm never doing this again. And
oh my gosh.
Well, I'll tell you this much. If this isn't the clip, it's a goddamn shame. I'll tell you that much.
Wait, so how did it end your job? Were you just so
well, after that,
pissed?
I was just like, I don't think this is for
rock
me.
bottom.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
like a rock
Once
bottom.
you shit your pants, you're like,
Yeah, and I was kind of like, I'm just not gonna go
I need
back.
to reevaluate
Sure.
some things.
have
Like-
you ever shit your pants, Adele?
No, I've peed my pants.
And by the way, this was like, shitting your pants has different levels to it, right? Like, it could be a little bit or whatever. This was like solid, like hefty, like just poop.
So
Like
where
it
did
wasn't.
you-
It wasn't like liquid. It was like
So where'd you drop the poop after you shit your
in
pants?
the trash bin of this Bank of America.
Okay.
No,
So
I think he meant like, where'd you drop the poop? Like, where?
It
were
was
you?
in
No,
my
I kind of was
underwear.
wondering where he got rid of it.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it was
Yeah.
like in my underwear, like just like a full, solid, like it wasn't like it was just like
I can feel it in my throat a little bit. Can't you? I'm getting
like-
a little gaggy.
I just thought.
just like a full
I wanna
7
stop.
pounds.
I want to stop talking about
Okay.
it. I want to stop
I don't
talking
want
about
to.
it.
I think we should stop the list and just talk about this for the rest of the time. I mean, I have, full disclosure. You're bearing your butthole
Yeah, I
to
know.
us right
I know
now,
you
so
said.
I appreciate that. I mean, I've never shit myself to that extent. Like that's really something.
Food poisoning, you're like out of control of your body.
I've come close. Well, okay, one time I got like food when I lived in Astoria, and I was walking on Ditmars, and I think I like sneezed, and I like shit my pants that way.
Yeah, but that's
it
like-
was like a wet shit, and I was like, I just had to walk back like 6 blocks to my
No,
house.
this was like
You're in
like-
Chinatown.
this is like a full like this is just like a normal poop that you would have on the bathroom, but I just had I just stood and did it because I had nowhere I didn't know what to do.
And
And then like the next step was
Was
just
that
like
the last time you shit yourself?
yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Who's to say, really?
Yeah, I mean,
Life is long.
I still have many years ahead of me, I think, and
Yeah.
if I foresee many more rock bottoms coming my way.
When I worked at the Met, I had food poisoning. I think someone gave me a shot at the Grizzly Pear, like on a late show one night, and I almost feel like they poisoned me. And I know it doesn't make sense, but like that next morning, I had to work in like a modern art gallery in the Met, and it was
Yeah.
like one of those things that was only around for a little bit, but everything looked like shit. Like all of the like art pieces, literally, I swear to God, they were like gigantic different colors of shit. And I had food poisoning, and I didn't shit myself, but like I had to leave work early.
Yeah.
And like when I got off of the train from when I was living in Brooklyn at the time, I just threw up on the side of a bank.
Yeah, the throwing up.
Throwing up on the side of a bank sucks, but it's not as bad as shitting yourself.
It's not as bad as having to throw out your pants in a bank.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You made a deposit at that bank.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
And in hindsight, I felt very bad for whoever, like in the morning, had to open that bank.
I'm sure they deal with that a lot.
Yeah, maybe.
They probably thought it was like a homeless person.
Yeah,
Just
that's true.
excreting.
Well, so okay, we're gonna go to number 7, and there's still about 35 more minutes
All right,
for
I'll keep-
Leo to shit himself.
Okay.
No, it's okay. Coming in at number 7.
7 is I was a HVAC parts delivery driver. So this is closer
This
to the
time I came in my pants.
This
HVAC, sorry.
HVAC is air conditioning.
yeah,
system.
like an air conditioning.
Come on, you run a goddamn company.
Yeah,
You know what it
I'm
is.
helping the viewers. I'm filling
Yeah.
them in.
So this was
Man
like,
enough
Did
to
you-
know when
did
I'm
you-
wrong.
yeah,
Yes,
did
I
you
did.
know?
Yes,
Oh,
of
you
course.
knew.
Yes.
So this is
HVAC.
closer to similar kind of as the construction job. You know, word didn't get around yet that I was completely useless. So this was another friend's dad that got me like a summer job, and it's working for an HVAC company. But I was just like the person that would like, you know, the technician would be at a house or something, and they'd be like, "Oh, quick, we need like this
Tube. Or
Yeah. I obviously don't
Filter.
know. I worked, I worked there. I don't know.
Send poop boy.
Yeah, we
To
need
get the wrench.
we need a wrench, right? And then
Yeah.
me in the little pickup truck, I'd go zooming, drop off this wrench, and then go back to the like warehouse. And it was really like a great. This was maybe my like senior year of high school, and it was like a great summer job. But like many of the others, you know, things took a turn for the worse there at one point where I essentially like so usually I drove this little pickup truck, but one day I drove like a big van, and I drop off the parts at this one house, and then the driveway was like on a hill, so to pull out it was like going uphill. So I pull out, I kind of like hit the gas, I coast up over the hill onto the road, and I turn to like I'm gonna like do a all in one motion pulling out, and I turn onto the road, but you know I misjudged it, and I just smash into a car that's parked on that street. And this van is filled with air conditioning parts, like all these little screws and stuff.
So wait, this is a van.
Yeah, the
Okay.
van. So then when the impact happens, it's like the loudest sound I've ever heard. Just all the parts in the thing go flying. Every little like drawer opens, all these screws come out. You know, I'm in pure panic mode. I look back to see what I hit, and it's like just like a brand new red pickup truck, like still has like the bow on it from the commercials. You know, it has like the sparkle of just being brand new. And I look, and it's just the whole door is just gashed, like smashed to heavens in. Like it's not like like I just like destroyed the door of this car.
I understand.
And then you know, my survival instinct kicks in, so I just gun it.
No.
And I just
Hit and run.
hit it, just a classic hit and run. I just, you know, book it, and then this was like 10 a.m. in the morning. My day just started, and the rest of the day I'm like still kind of going back and forth, delivering little parts here and there. But I have like a walkie-talkie. You know, I'm just
the van fucked up too?
the van. No, the van is a tank.
Because the van's. But no, there had to have been some sort of.
No,
damage.
these vans are been like abused and whatever. Like the bumper had like a little bit whatever on it, but like
I would think it's like of a red car. Maybe it would.
no, this is like this van is like made out of. I don't know. It was like it was old. Like
How old are you at this point?
let's not worry. Oh, back then.
Yeah, not right now.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, your young age is probably the only thing that saved your ass. They were like, it's a kid's.
Well, let's let him tell the rest of
Yeah.
the story.
Okay.
I'm sure it's not going to work out.
He went to
So
jail.
I got this job through like nepotism because it was the track athlete friend. It was one of his dad's other friends got me this job,
Okay.
and he
this kid
really
doesn't fucking learn, does he?
well his dad's friends don't learn. They kept hiring me, but he in order to get that job, I had to pass a drug test, and I failed it multiple times, and I kept like getting another shot at it, all because this guy was just like knew me, and he kept like being like, oh, like something happened. Let's try it again.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew this. In the 2005s, Leo was addicted to heroin.
No, it was just weed.
3
I was
years.
smoking weed. And then eventually to pass this drug test, I just had a friend pee for me. And
Oh
like,
my
so whatever.
goodness.
But the guy that hired me knew.
Were you stoned when this happened?
No.
Okay.
No, it was like too early.
So then what happened?
So then I go.
fled?
So the rest of the day, I'm just kind of not literally shitting my pants, but
Figuratively.
figuratively shitting my pants,
Sure.
listening to this walkie-talkie, being like, what the fuck? Like just waiting for that, right? Then it doesn't happen. That day ends. Like it's 5 o'clock. I go back to the warehouse or their headquarters. I walk through the front door. Usually I go through like the back. I walk through the front, and the reception is like, "Hey, how was your day?" I was like, "Oh, pretty good." She's like, "Did anything happen?" I'm like, "Oh no." And she's like, "Did you happen to hit anything?" I was like, "Absolutely not. Maybe like a curb or something." And she's like, "Huh, interesting." Because one of the guys, his brand new pickup truck got smashed, and they all think it's you. And now there's like 10 of them all waiting in the back for you in the parking lot. And so then I had to, and these are like, these are like lifetime HVAC workers in central New Jersey. These are like, some of them probably stormed the Capitol or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like that type of
They're
person.
about to storm you.
Yeah, they're about to storm my Capitol.
Mhm.
But because I had this job through this guy's dad's friend who was like the boss there, luckily, so I came out and it was like straight up like out of a movie, this little circle of like these like,
I'm surprised you didn't turn around and run away.
Well,
Yeah, like you did earlier in the day.
Well,
I'm like, I thought that was where the story was going to end.
No,
Yeah,
no,
why
no.
don't you use your
Damn.
flight response like
no,
you did earlier?
because at that point,
Did you know? You didn't know it was that person's
No,
car,
I just thought it
obviously.
was a random car.
Yeah.
And I was like in the clear once they got there. But it just happened to be the guy that was working the job. I was like, here's your screw. And then I smashed this car and
Yeah.
drove away.
Mhm.
And then, so then there's this whole thing where like, they're kind of like chanting for my heads. But then this guy who was everyone's boss, he kind of just took it over and he was like, he didn't do that because if he did, he would tell me,
Oh.
right? And then he like looked me dead in the eyes. And then he did this thing where he just took a tape measure. He went up to the guy's truck, picked like an arbitrary point in this giant, it's like a 4x4 just indentation in his car, all scratched up. Just picks a random point from the ground, measures to it. And it's like, okay, this is like 3 feet up from the ground. Then he goes to the van, picks a random point on the bumper, and he's like, oh, it's 2 feet. He's like, so it couldn't have been it. Whatever hit your truck must have been huge. End of story. And looks at the guy in the eyes and goes, he didn't hit it, okay? The end.
And then you were like, well,
Oh.
actually, no.
And then it took like years later of like that friend's, that guy that hired me. It took years of eventually him being like, did you actually hit it? And then like one time I was drunk and slipped up. It was like, yeah,
And then what happened?
nothing. He laughed about it.
Oh.
And then
Interesting.
actually the whole thing de-escalated later in that day or the next day. It turned out the guy's truck, he didn't have car insurance.
Oh.
So once that got out,
Sorry,
literally
This is perfect for our sponsor, Geico. Everybody is our new sponsor here at.
great for hit
Top9.
runs.
Yeah.
No, so once that got out, the sentiment completely changed. I was like kind of public enemy number one, where it was just like this little piece of shit that got hired by this guy, smashed our like boy's car, and then it was like, oh, he didn't have insurance, and they're like, oh, he's an idiot, like whatever, end of story.
Fair enough.
And then so then it completely de-escalated. A couple of the older guys were like, oh, that guy is driving around with insurance. He deserves to get his car hit. And then some of them were like, good job.
Oh my God.
Well, hopefully he doesn't see this episode.
No, I think it was this moment where it was like, it was pretty fucked up in the moment because essentially his boss going like, listen, this didn't happen.
Sure.
What are you going to do about it?
All right, you're painting very vivid pictures right now. Okay.
Where did you come from, Leo? Who is
Belarus.
this guy?
Belarus, actually. So,
This guy's connected to something. I don't know.
No,
Keep
this is
on.
yeah,
just like-
mental illness. Listen, okay, we do have to keep it moving a
Okay.
little bit more than we are, but wait, I would like to just recap right now. We
These
have
stories
done.
are amazing.
So we've been through 3 so far. So far, you have injured yourself to the point where you couldn't work, open gash wound in your hand. You've also shit yourself.
Yeah, to where I couldn't work
And
ever
you-
again.
Also destroyed a truck. Coming in at number 6.
So this one isn't gonna be as crazy, but it's another delivery driving job, but it was in the city. Same thing. First couple of months in New York, I delivered flowers for this like they called themselves the Netflix of flowers. They were trying to be like some sort of like flower delivery thing.
How would they be the Netflix
I don't
of
know.
flowers,
This
though?
was like when all the start, like Uber and all this kind of like was kind of first, not
Okay.
first happening, but every company was trying to be like either the Uber of or the Netflix of. Like it was just like a brand.
Overly
thing.
convenient.
Yeah, like.
To order. I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
great, but I mean, Netflix is a streaming service.
Yeah, yeah.
Doesn't
You
make
know,
sense.
No, this
Tom,
is
I
like
agree.
yeah.
you're just
no.
watching Netflix.
Hence, they probably are not in
No,
business.
no, they're not.
as
And
opposed to
Maybe like they
a
pictured
delivery
it,
guy
like,
who's got
picking
shit in
out,
his pants who just fucked up your car, giving you flowers. I don't know how that's like Netflix.
like
but go
picking
ahead.
out the bouquets is easy as ordering that option.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
it's like the idea was that like
Occasions,
it's easy
types
as
of
Netflix
flowers.
where it's like every day you get your own little new arrangement of flowers or whatever. But I like delivered a lot of these. You know, it was like going to law offices in Midtown or whatever, having some guy yell at you, being like, "These are the wrong kinds of orchids" or whatever. But I didn't know anything. I was just like, "Okay."
And you were like, "Come on, man, it's Netflix. Chill."
Yeah. That's pretty good. No, but this I did that for about a year, and that one I was just like I got really good at being like a New York City driver, but also that entailed of just being like super aggressive and just being a huge like piece of shit when driving. And this kind of I realized I had to stop doing it when it escalated where like a parking person, they tried to give me, I like double parked. I ran into a building, came out. This person was like in the middle of like scanning that sticker on the front of your car or whatever to get the ticket. And I just put my hand in front of it. And I was like, "You're not going to give me this ticket." And so then I was just like arguing with this guy.
A parking attendant.
Yeah. And I'm like blocking the thing from scanning. And then I realized that like I can't get in the car without unblocking it. And now it's like I've stepped to this guy, so he's like, in his mind, he's like, "There's no way I'm not giving this person a ticket." So then, like in one,
Now, was this your car or the company car?
the company car? It was like it meant nothing.
It was
to
more
me.
of the principle.
Yeah, it
for
was
you.
both of us. It was the principle, right? So then, like, I like open the door somehow. I have the hand still over it. I like halfway get in the car. I start the car, and then I was like, "All right, I'm gonna jump in the car, put it in reverse, and get out of here."
I feel another car crash
Yeah.
coming on.
No, this was like maybe on Park Ave somewhere. So it wasn't super busy. So then I do all of that. I jump in, I put it in reverse, and I slam the gas. Except I didn't put it in reverse. I put it into neutral. So it's just the engine revs super loud, and I just see this.
Intimidate the guy.
No, I see this parking attendant's eyes light up where he thought he just got murdered. And then when he quickly comes to and realizes he didn't, he scans the thing. Then
That's
I put
good
it
at his job.
He scans the thing. I put it in reverse. I go back like 100 yards, and then I'm so mad. I like put it back in drive. I drive at him, and I was just like, "Fuck you, man!" And like I get out of the car again. I don't know what I was, in my mind I was like, I'm going to fight this guy. But then I kind of caught myself and I was like, all right, I got to find a new.
I would never guess this behavior came out of this man.
He's an angry
so
little Russian.
interesting.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's lived quite the life.
Seriously, I couldn't see that grit in you to.
No, well,
So
So wait, so you quit that job because you didn't like the
you
person
didn't like
you were
the person
becoming?
you were becoming.
It's just like, the stress of just driving
Yeah.
every day. But I also got good at it. I was like,
Well, you kind of have to be a dick to be good at that job.
I was
would
like,
guess.
like I was weaving in and out. I was beating traffic. I was like, I know, like if I make it uptown at this time, I get back
yeah,
downtown.
you knew
like,
the lights. You
yeah, like
knew
it's
where
like
to
it's like oh, I cut across Central Park at this time is okay, but like at this time not okay.
go. Sure.
And so that I enjoyed, but then also with all of that, all the flowers are just getting fucked up because they're just like splashing around the back as I'm like swerving in and out.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
They wanted it to be Netflix, but it was more like Quibi.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 5.
Number 5, I was a front desk person for a Broadway rehearsal studio.
Okay.
So a little bit like this.
Love it.
Yeah. So
Did you have to pretend to be gay? Is that how you got the job?
No, I was just myself.
Okay. You didn't have to pretend.
Yeah. So it was like somewhere around here actually, but all
Midtown Manhattan.
Yeah.
The White Way. I saw Company this weekend. Stephen Sondheim. Pretty good. Check it out.
So this was like a pretty fun job actually. I was like not good at it. I was like not pleasant as the first person. Like, you know, there's a lot of Broadway people or a lot of people that are like, we're here, we want to rehearse, whatever.
So
And-
it was. I'm sorry. It was a rehearsal space.
Yeah, rehearsal space, but it was like mostly used by like Broadway type or musical theater type. Like I had one of the
Who was
things-
your biggest person who came in?
the biggest person was Dakota Fanning, and she was there like secretly. Like she didn't want anyone to know she was there. She was taking vocal lessons.
Mhm.
But the biggest person I had like an altercation with BB Newworth, where like we like got into. I didn't know who she was, and I don't know if your viewers.
I don't
will-
know who BB
She's
Newworth
like a
is.
Broadway type person, but she's done some TV and movies.
Mhm.
Uh,
I've used to work on Broadway. My
Yeah.
biggest guy was Gary Marshall right before he
Oh,
died
nice.
from Pretty Woman. Pretty cool.
But
so go ahead.
she's like, you know, she's like a professional everything. And then, you know, I think I fucked up her like time for her like rehearsal studio. But I didn't know who she
BB
was.
gave you the business, huh?
Yeah, she kind of did, but I was just like, fuck you, lady. I don't give a shit. I'm
Those
like,
old Broadway broads
yeah.
though are funny.
and then the next time we actually then had like a pretty jovial relationship after that because like we kind of both
After she chewed you out.
no, we both kind of like apologized later.
I like you, you little cunt.
But this
Something like
job, you know, it's like I ended up quitting it because I don't remember why.
How long did you
but
work there?
a couple months too. This was like at one point I was doing that as the same time. So I would spend a day of delivering flowers, driving around like a maniac, and then I'd come there and be like, "Hello," like,
Jazz hands.
yeah, like. But my biggest accomplishment for that job was this was like completely out of laziness, but sometimes a moment of like trying to just make me being lazy just made life better for everybody. Like, so there's probably like 20 different rooms. Every room had a little garbage can in it, right? And part of my
They called them little Leos.
yeah, and part of my job was at the end of the day I had to get rid of all the garbage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I fucking hate doing this. How can I get out of this? And then I read some at the same time.
Literally just the easiest thing, right? They're just little trash
No.
cans that you.
But I'd rather just not do that. So then I read an
Oh.
article about how in the New York City subway, they did a study where in some stations they got rid of the garbage cans, and they noticed that the garbage didn't increase because the thinking was that the people that are going in the subway and just throwing the garbage onto the ground, they're doing that whether there is or isn't a garbage can, right? And then decent people like you guys, right? Like if you have a cup or something, you
We
go
look for the garbage.
right. And if there's no garbage,
we
you're just like, okay,
on to it.
and then so I presented this to my boss. I was like, what if we got rid of all the little garbage cans in the
You
studio?
had a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, kind of. And I was like, because theoretically, or our rules is you're not supposed to have food and drinks in the studios anyway.
Yeah.
So then one day she was like, let's do it. And I was like so happy about it. And so I pulled out all the garbage cans. And like those first couple days.
And then you're like, I quit. There's
No.
no going up from here.
No. So
This is my legacy.
So then it worked. And the only issue was all the clients were so pissed because they all had food and drinks in the studios. So then they were coming out, be like some like whatever, like Emmy nominated person coming out and be like, where the fuck is the garbage? Like, I want to throw out my Power Bar wrapper and be like, well, are you eating that Power Bar wrapper in the studio? Because you're not supposed to be. And they'd be like, fuck. And then so they all just kind of took it. And I feel like this is my biggest accomplishment in life.
Yeah.
Is like, so we just had one big garbage bin in like the lobby, and everyone was forced to use that one.
Send in the clowns. Coming in, that was 5?
That was 5, yeah.
Coming in at number 4.
Central Casting.
Oh,
I worked
this is an interesting one. Before you get into this one,
Sure.
and I knew it was going to be on the list,
Of
and
course.
I'm glad that you gave it a higher point. As you know, my fiance Alex works at Central Casting. She's a casting director. She's worked there for over 5 years. Sometimes you can refer people. If I would have known that this list was what it was, I probably wouldn't have linked the two. But Leo didn't have a job. When was this? Over a year ago now, right?
Last year during COVID, like. No, it was this past summer.
Okay, so my fiance Alex goes out on a limb, gets this fucking
I was just about to say, you're still taking random jobs?
shitting
Current?
in his
Yeah.
Okay.
pants.
Current situation. Okay. I
Yeah.
thought this was all like
No.
on my way up. on the journey that
it's
is
been
me.
a very flat.
All right, so go on. Alex
the
hooks
climb
him
is
up.
the climb is still happening,
I'm like-
Adele. We don't all get there at the same time, but it doesn't matter. So yes, my fiance gets Leo a job at Central Casting. Go.
Yeah, and it was great. It was a great job. I was probably there like 4 or 5 months.
He had
The
to
best
be there
part-
for 6 months for
Yeah.
her to get the referral fee. That
Yeah.
cocksucker screwed us out of $1,000.
Oh.
No, it was a couple $100. It wasn't
I
going to be
don't
a grand.
Well, you know.
But that was one
for
of
the
the
podcast.
one of the added bonuses was that
and he said, if I leave, I'll just give you the money. Still waiting on that.
I was lying.
Referral fee. Why is it this? Is it that bad to work there? It's like people don't stick around.
I don't want to. I
They're
don't want
like
to
a-
talk too
they're-
much ill of my lady's job. But what I'm saying is, if
difficult.
he would have, it's definitely a difficult job. But
They're like a big corporation, or they're owned by a big corporation, so they're like
there's referral fees at all.
yeah,
jobs,
they're
though.
like the bigger corporation type things. They want to be like, we're a great place to work. You know, if you know, like this is how good it is here. Like if you want to recommend someone, it's not meant for like a lower kind of job like this. It's meant for like, you know, oh, if you bring in a good candidate, we'll
Got it.
reward. Like,
But let's not focus on
Yeah.
that. So go
Okay.
ahead.
yeah, no, it was. I enjoyed this position, but it was like peak COVID. And once kind of got going, it was fun. Like the best part of it was working with your fiance and Alex. Like I kind of worked under her, and that was all great. But then there was like
I liked it because it felt like he worked for me too a little bit. But go ahead.
But then there was all this kind of like other stuff, and like
Uh-huh.
sometimes
bureaucratic.
Well, also
bullshit.
I came in as a casting assistant, and so there's this like hierarchy of like casting assistant.
You know, when you started a job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
how
but
you
I'm
start
also-
at the bottom.
Sure,
Yes.
but usually the person that starts at that job is like a 21-year-old. At this point, I'm like a 30-something.
That's not their problem. That's yours.
Yeah, no, for sure. But it's like I also like you can't
Boss
be like,
bitch in the building. Go ahead,
but also
girl.
like you know, I'm also like where they're like,
Psychotic.
well that too. But I'm also just like you know, it's like, hey Leah, we're gonna need you to do this. I'm very much okay going like, no, like I'm not gonna do that. That's not the job. That kind of thing, right?
Okay.
Whereas
And
like
somehow he quit this job, by the way.
but
I
things
know.
st-
Go ahead.
things turned sour essentially is once this was all remote, right? So I am this was like a dream job for me. I wake up in the morning, I turn on the computer, I switch on that I'm like online in the chat, then I power on the PlayStation and I go to work, you know? And so then I'm like half of the time playing PlayStation. When a call comes in or I have to do something, I pause, you know, I do it. And
They really lost a good employee, didn't they?
Yeah.
Over there.
you know, so then
The one
and
that
the-
got away over here.
Uh-huh.
No, and I think there was no complaints other than the random times I would say no to when they asked me to do something. But so then it turned when it was like, we're going to go back into the office, right? And I was just like, well, my only experience with this job is sitting in my underwear playing PlayStation, doing whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, and like it's,
And
it's hard to shit yourself when you're working from home too.
And and passively doing this job. Now it's like you're gonna be in this office where everything is like you have to put your name on the whiteboard if you're going to the bathroom, right? So in my mind, I was just like, I'm never gonna step foot into this office. Like this is the end of the road for me here because
I thought it was because you wanted to take like 2 days off and they wouldn't let you take.
well
2
that
days
too,
off.
but I ended up winning this battle. So this was actually there was once the talks of like we're gonna go back into the office and whatever. I was just like I need to find a way out of here, right?
Please don't tell me you blamed COVID and being scared.
I kind of did, yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, I
there
was
was some
like,
sort of-
I was like, I don't feel comfortable going back.
Ugh.
No, but initially there was like,
I don't want to get too much into this though.
well, I asked for like 2 days off around 4th of July,
yeah.
and they said no, and I was like, what do you mean? Like, okay, like that's not no.
Yeah.
And so then in my mind it was like, well, I was like, good, this is the end of this because I'm gonna take those 2 days off, and that'll be the end of it,
Gotcha.
whether or not. But then, like once it got closer and closer, they caved and they're like, here are your 2 days off. So then I took those 2 days off or whatever. I had like this long weekend. And literally the next day I was like, when I came back, I was like, oh, I quit anyway because of, like I don't feel comfortable about COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, they weren't happy with that. So then they like try to like kind of have me.
Whatever.
They
Coming
tried
in.
to fire me one like week earlier than I said. but then I got like HR involved, so I got paid like an extra
You're a
week.
fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. This is when you're coming to this realization.
Wow.
No,
Wow.
some of these are good. No, these are all terrible ones. Yeah.
Coming in at number 3.
So I worked for an artificial intelligence bot company. So this is like I had like a bunch of years.
Leo
like
worked for Skynet.
I worked in like the tech kind of sector, but this was like. So there's this little company. This was a job I got through a friend's friend.
The robot was like, I can't work with this guy.
No, so the company was supposed to be artificial intelligence chatbots for like recruiting and hiring. So instead of doing an interview, you talk to like a robot or a chat on the computer, and it's supposed to be all through like AI, where like, you're like, Tom has a job he needs to fill, and he just like uploads the description. And then the AI technology, like turns the gears and like poof.
All these candidates.
No, candidates, but also there's like now a robot that does the interview for you.
Okay.
But the reality of it was like none of it was AI, and it was like worker bees behind the scene, like just doing like creating all this stuff and like doing these like fake. So like essentially I would write out a script for a chat with a candidate, but then it would be presented as like our AI robot did this. So like no one from outside the company could know that I existed. So like sometimes when they're like investors would come, our whole team, they'd just be like, you guys need to leave and no one needs to know you're here.
Why didn't they just spray you gray?
So silver, like a robot.
Yeah.
So then
they just make you stand still.
But I was like pretty good at whatever this was, and then it got to a point
Pretending to be a robot?
No, doing like the kind of like this like internal work that no one needed to know that existed. But then eventually they realized like, and it was also understood like, essentially what I'm doing theoretically shouldn't exist. So there's going to be this point where their product becomes
actually going to work.
Yeah. So then they won't need me. But it was understood. So
I have to stop you. So we're at number 3 right now. We basically have like 10 minutes left.
Okay.
Were you fired or did you quit this job?
I was fired, and I was fired. This was a good one because I literally
try to leak the story.
No, the day of
Edward Snowden.
The day of we had this scheduled meeting, and I tweeted about.
The story.
I tweeted about the meeting. I said something like, "The good thing about a meeting is that maybe we all just get fired." And then the meeting was about me getting fired, and it was a bunch of us getting fired.
Oh.
So then I like tweeted about it, and then I go in this meeting, and they're like, "You're fired."
Wow.
Because I was like very replaceable. And then they hired like people in India to do my job that I trained.
Sure. Well, guys, manifesting works. Coming in at number 2.
This was my tech sector. I worked for a food delivery app, like Seamless, but it was like an off-brand one, and it was in the city. And I was there for like 7 years. So here you go. I'm very employable. I was there, and I was like, no one really knew what I did, and it was like a really great situation. I was probably like checked out after 2 years, but then I decided to
5 years later
to stick around for the.
And he's delivering food. I don't.
No,
think
I wasn't.
No,
I wasn't delivering food. I was like,
like connecting the people, like the delivery person with the customer in the restaurant.
And I was like our client-facing person. I would go to like the office of Spotify or the office of LinkedIn, and I'd like schmooze, and I'd be like, "How's everything? Everything's good." And that part I was pretty good at because it takes no skill. But the window of that was like lunchtime, so I had this like very like so I got to be just like doing whatever I want from like 11:30 till 3. So then I go back to the office.
It's a long lunch, ain't it?
Well, because I was supposed to be going through multiple offices. In reality, I'd go to like one, then go home, take a nap, that kind of thing. And then
really burns the midnight oil, doesn't he?
So then I'd come back to the office.
Fucking hustler over here.
I'd go back to the office. All the people that are actually working, like the programmers and stuff, they'd be burnt out. They'd be like, "Hey, Leo, you want to play like some N64? I got like 10 minutes." So then the rest of the day, all these people that are taking like a 10-minute break to relax, I'm just like logging hours of N64 till the end of the day.
But you're like their support kid.
Yeah. And then randomly, like the founder of the company would be like, "Hey, Leo, like we need some shelves," and I'd be like, "I'm on it. I'll do these shelves."
Okay.
You've
painted a picture.
So that was
cut you short. Fired or quit?
I quit because I lost a lot of my allies there, right? In the early days, there was enough people that would be like, oh, that's Leo. Who cares? Like, he's a great guy, whatever. Enough people started leaving and new people coming in, and all that was no longer a thing that was like they were fond of. They were just like, this guy does nothing and is kind of an asshole.
Yeah, he leaves for 4 hours a day and keeps asking us to play on 64.
Yeah. And so then I lost.
I've got a wife and kids.
You're like, this isn't fun anymore. I'm out.
Well, yeah, once I knew that, like,
Yeah.
the knives were turning on me, I was like, I got to get out of here because, you know,
That's a pretty good run, though, 7 years.
Yeah, it was great. And then,
you made okay money on that, right?
Yeah, it was like I had like a normal salary.
I got a few drinks from you back off
He's
of those
like,
days.
Leo, and
I had
catch me if you can. He's like, oh, I got to keep moving.
This-
Next.
Well, no, that one was, I would have done that forever if just like
If
I
the
knew.
scam kept going,
Well,
you would have done it forever? Yeah,
I
I
got-
imagine so.
I used to report directly to the founder, and he was just like so busy doing it. Like, you know, him wondering what I did or didn't do wasn't.
Yeah, it was
on
And
the-
then once he
then-
was replaced by an AI
Yeah.
robot.
No, and then he was he was smart enough to put someone to like manage me, and that was like the end of that.
Beginning and the
Yeah,
end,
because
yeah.
it was like, hey, like, you know, I would love to see your like day to day. Can you just do a rundown of what your day looks like, right?
I get it. Listen,
Number
You've-
one.
coming in at number one, this is Leo Volf's number one job he was either fired or quit from.
Well, this is a great one. So this number one is cruise ship musician, and this one is great because I was both
Yeah.
fired and quit on separate occasions.
Okay.
He was a stowaway on one, too.
Yes, this is how I came to America.
Uh-huh.
But no,
you
I
were a
was-
saxophone player.
I played saxophone on cruise ships for like 2 years, on and off. You do these contracts.
Pretty
You're-
cool, huh?
Did he get you laid on the cruise ships?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you had a romance on
yeah,
that,
I had
didn't
like
you?
I like fell in love with a dancer,
Oh, see?
and
I
that
smelled
A
that-
tale as old as time, Adele.
yeah,
it
see,
led
that's
to
what-
my demise. It's
Oh.
actually part of the reason why I moved to New York. Is
And
like,
then he rose from the ashes.
and then yeah,
And then he went back down.
to still be mediocre in
Yeah.
the middle.
yeah, just a terrible human being.
Hey, I only like it when I'm mean to him. Leo's
Yeah,
my bitch.
yeah, Adele's
Back
really-
off.
Adele's really. I feel like this is my 7-year job all over again.
She's been with you for an hour.
yeah, I know.
It's waned on her.
This is the
Yeah,
moment.
you
this,
turned me through this episode.
this is the moment where I'd be
Leo,
like,
play
I got,
us out
I
with some
got, I got to
saxophone.
get out of this. I
Yes,
gotta get. I
exactly.
was like, she's turning on me. This is no. I got so I
you were
quit,
2 years.
but it was like you do.
What
month,
kind of carnival? Was it
You
a
do-
carnival cruise?
It was Royal Caribbean.
Royal
Ooh, that's a
Caribbean.
good one.
So you do month contracts. So you live on this ship, and you kind of go loony a little bit. And also, like as a musician, I'm doing very little stuff. It's like I do a show a night, and then throughout the day you got nothing. So at one point, I took on a second job. I worked like they had
Swap the deck?
they had an art auction. So like I like helped him set up. I was just like a laborer for the art auctioneer some days when I was like, you know, making extra money.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like drinking aggressively. So one of the ones I got fired from was I like just showed up from like Barcelona, just blackout drunk, and like mouthed off to
Oh,
not,
man.
not the
that's
captain,
good, isn't
not
it?
not the captain, but it was like the hotel manager. So like the
Took a
cruise ship-
shit in a tuba.
no. Usually they had like a separate entrance for the crew or whatever. So usually if you could show up drunk, you just walk through that, whatever.
Yeah.
This was like through the front of the ship where all the like people that pay for it are walking, coming back. And I'm like, me and this girl, she was
Is this
more,
the dancer?
no, she I forget what she was, but she like was so drunk she was carrying her shoes, right? It's like 2 p.m. bright, beautiful Barcelona. She's like stumbling, carrying her shoes. I'm walking arm in arm with her. This guy with like 7 stripes on his fucking lapels or whatever.
Captain of the ship?
No, he was like fourth in charge. He's the hotel manager, whatever.
Okay.
Okay.
So he's like in charge of like the customer service or whatever, right? So he sees that, he's like, "What's going on?" And I'm just like, "Hey, fuck you, man! Like, leave us alone." And then I just book it to like my cabin, my room, and this guy's like, "What just happened?" So then instantly I get a call from like my musical director, and he's just like, "Yeah, they're gonna need to see you." So then I got like, just like they like breathalyze you. You're not supposed to be like at a certain, you know, you're not
Sure.
supposed. You're an employee, even if you're
I'm
off.
surprised you're even allowed to drink at all.
Well, because you're
What
like
I'll
off
say
hours.
about this, I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
but I also think if you're ever going to be an alcoholic, it might as well being as a fucking jazz musician on a cruise ship. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
there's a
and-
time and a place for everything, and that seems like the time.
And there was a ton
Well, you
of
gotta be a little more.
Sure, it's like a floating country.
There was like,
You're like no rules.
There was like, yeah, one of my bandmates was like a 60-year-old, just legit alcoholic, where he had to leave because his like bladder stopped working.
Your
And then when they-
flashlight's on your phone now.
and when they
things
check-
are really, you're trying to get fired from this podcast in the last
well,
minute.
yeah, as soon as I saw that Adele turned on me, I knew I got to get out. But yeah, it was a great place to be an alcoholic and like a piece of shit, and it was
for
awesome.
a couple years.
Yeah, and so then I got fired, but even that wasn't enough because
Did they play out?
no, it was like very not glamorous or whatever. I just got dropped off at
What
the
happens if you're fired like 1 week into the month?
next.
Tour?
You just like whatever the next port is. They
Oh.
just buy you a plane ticket and
Got it.
you go home. And then like I had to kind of just lie to my this is like still during college. I had to like lie to my mom. I was like, oh yeah, like contract got cut short.
You were doing this in the summer of college?
One, I did in between semesters, and then of like my senior year, and then did it for like a year. I did like a This was
Okay.
after that. Whatever.
No,
I was
okay,
still
gotcha.
living at home with my parents, and then after that, it like no one was fazed by it because like a couple months later, I get like an email. It's like, hey, you want to do this like other contract? I was like, hey, I got fired for like being drunk. Is that a big deal? And they're just like, yeah, it should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I did one for like 8 months. It's when I fell in love, had my heart broken. And then I
And then she fired you.
yeah, she fired me. And then I quit. And then I kind of I was just like, all right, I think this has been the run.
Well, listen, man. I think that's a good place to end it. This has been a really great episode, man. You put a lot of work into not doing work,
Yeah,
and
I
we
mean,
appreciate it.
Seriously.
I take pride in that.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
skill. It's a skill set. You
for
can put
sure.
that on your resume.
I know. I wish
I wish someone would make a resume based off of this top 9 list.
Shit you got away with.
I
Yeah.
w- the
Or
thing
the-
is, the
the
thing
shit
is
he
that
didn't get away with.
Yeah.
those stuff like when I go on interviews like for jobs, it's like very hard because the things I'm most proud of are like it's like that trash can thing or like being at a company for 7 years doing very little but still being like kind of there. I
Yeah.
wish like I could be like these are the things I'm good at. Like what do you guys think? And obviously
Yeah, but where would that work
I don't
anywhere?
know. I don't know. I think it exists.
Sound off in the comments, everybody. Leo, where can the-
Currently looking for work, by the way.
You don't-
if anyone's hiring,
You don't say. It's so crazy. I need a writer's assistant for Thursday, and I was going to offer you the job.
No, we work
And it's so funny that after this, I'm not sure if I should.
No, please do.
Leo, where can the people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Lev Volf. Or physically, they could find me. What are you asking? And
No.
Instagram at Leo Volf.
Yeah.
How about
there
that?
you
Yeah, you said it like a question mark or something.
Well, because you were looking at me in such disbelief that I would plug my Twitter.
No, not
There's,
at all.
there's good stuff on there, like me tweeting about saying, I wish I got fired, and then getting fired
Yes.
shortly after.
Also, during the pandemic, Leo did a quarantine little minute videos of like music things with different outfits. It's very good. You should check it out. It's I think it'll be appreciated once he dies.
You can also find him on LinkedIn and ZipRecruiter.
Yeah.
Adele,
Check me out on Instagram, Lavoro_Adele. Top 9 Podcasts, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. Leave a comment for me. You were going to talk about a comment earlier?
oh yeah, we'll save it for another one. Also, I think if I read
Behave.
it, I might get murdered, so I don't really want
Okay.
to. Top
Everyone behave. Keep it nice. Keep it sweet.
Top 9 Pod on Twitter and Instagram, Cassidy Comedy, TomCassidy.com. That was another episode of Top 9
So
Podcast.
fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo.
Thank you for
Thank you,
having me.
Adele. We'll see you next week.
Please hire
Bye,
me.
guys.
Peace out. You're fired.
Yeah. Never.